You finally made it to 4 p.m. You know what that means. Happy hour. It's time to kick back, relax, and dive into the world of sports with the Young and Norvelle Show. Whether you're catching up on the latest scores, analyzing the big plays, or gearing up for tonight's games, we've got you covered. So grab a cold one, settle in, and let's talk sports. Here they are, Patrick Young and Terry Norvelle.
On the patio at Sliders. They're closed today. Sliders has gone ahead and kind of shut it down. They're reconfiguring everything and making sure everything is good to go. They will be up and at 'em tomorrow and all weekend. So we are in studio. Thanks. We want to thank our good friends, though, at Sliders. They've taken great care of this show for a number of years, and they're open tomorrow all weekend. Rocking and rolling, Sliders Oyster Bar. Get by down in Neptune Beach. You will not be disappointed. The best seafood, the freshest seafood from Safe Harbor Seafood. All right, here we go. A lot to cover today on the program. We hope to hear from Patrick Young. Obviously, the weather and stuff like that is affecting everybody. We hope to hear from Brent Beaird a little bit later. A lot of NFL talk, a lot of college talk, and we have our picks. As I welcome our producer, Zach Rothrock. Zach, are you there? Are you in the house? Are you anywhere? There you are. How you doing?
I am here.
How you doing?
I've been better. I've been worse.
We today we have to go over our picks again.
Yanks.
Because we have to make our picks.
Yeah.
Our 3-on-3 is me, you, and Patrick, right? That's our 3-on-3.
That sounds right.
And then we have our show picks.
Yeah.
So, Zach, unfortunately, I have to get back to your score from...
And you're really beating a dead horse here, huh?
Last week.
I think...
we'll hang tight.
A little behind the curtains here. I think I might need you to pull the mic a little closer.
Okay, a little closer.
Yeah.
Is that any better?
There you go. Yeah.
Ho! Hold on one second. Is that better?
Yeah.
There we go. Anyway, so we will have our picks. Patrick, hopefully, will have his picks against the spread. And, Zach, I'll need you to do that as well. Have you followed Major League Baseball, the playoffs? Wow.
I've peeked in a little bit. I've peeked in. It seems the Padres are giving the Dodgers everything they can handle.
My goodness. That is a fifth game, winner-take-all tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
They're in Game 5, winner-take-all, Padres, Dodgers in L.A. And you know what? I don't think it matters, though, because those two teams, both West Coast teams, they hate each other, by the way. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah.
They absolutely hate each other. But a lot of Padres get into the L.A. stadium, and a lot of Dodgers get into the Padres. It's at L.A. tomorrow night. Is it night? I think it is. I've got it somewhere. Yeah, 8:08. 8:08. Yeah. Friday, Game 5. San Diego is at L.A. I don't think where it's played matters. There will be a ton of San Diego fans inside there. If you don't know what we're talking about, the playoffs right now, the series we're in now, best 3 of 5, right? Best 3 of 5, and it's 2-2. It's 2-2, San Diego at L.A. tomorrow night. Now, we've got two games today, right? We've got the Yankees at Kansas City. That's the night game. Mm-hmm. The Yankees lead 2-1. The game is at Kansas City. Kansas City has to win to send it back to New York. That is 8:08 tonight. You also have Cleveland at Detroit. Detroit leads 2-1. So they could close it out tonight. That's the early game, 6:08, the early game. If both series are extended, they'll play on Saturday. So you got two tonight. They could both end. You've got one Game 5 winner take all tomorrow, and maybe even two games on Saturday. The Mets, by the way, the Mets have already won. They've clinched. They've moved on. How about the Mets, by the way? If you follow baseball, they scuffled for half the year. They bumped around and scuffled and bumped around. And I know friends of mine that are Met fans, they wrote them off. They said, we're done. Well, they got hot in the second half. I think the Mets had the best second half record of anybody in baseball.
Probably. And even in this playoff series, it's been like the 8th and the 9th inning. It's been like the second half of the game, second third of the game. They wake up every time.
Yeah, the Mets got a huge grand slam, I think it was, from Lindor to move on. But think about the Mets. They barely got in the playoffs. Remember, they were fighting the Braves for the last wild card spot, right? And the Mets got the 6th seed. The Braves got the 5 seed. Braves were 0-2 barbecue. They were done. They got knocked out by San Diego. The Mets, they've won 2 series. They move on to the National League Championship Series. And, Zach, as if the Yankees don't have enough pressure, they're the Yankees, right? The New York Yankees and their fan base, anything less than a World Series, they're not happy. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when you're chasing number, I guess it'd be 28.
28,
I believe. Yeah, when you're chasing number 28, that is the standard.
Yes.
And then they got a Patrick Mahomes is trying to like punch their fans in the face. Did you see that from their game? They got a lot going on. I mean, yeah, when you got that payroll and you got that brand and you got that
glad
logo,
you said that.
The standard is what it is.
I'm glad you said that. A, they're the Yankees.
Right.
B, they've won 28 million bazillion gazillion World Series titles. That Yankee Nation, which is all over the world, anything short of at least getting to the World Series, they're not going to be happy. But, Zach, right across the city, the Mets have made it to the NL Championship Series. If the Yankees don't make it, at least as far as the Mets, drop my pen. Yankee fan, right, is going to be really. There's a lot of pressure on the Yankees. They got to move on.
Yeah, that actually just I knew it had been a while, but the Yankees have not played in a World Series since 2009.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It says they've reached the postseason 4 times since then, but they haven't returned to the World Series since.
Wow.
And that was when they won their 27th, was in 2009.
Wow. So the Mets will move on. The Mets will play the winner of L.A. San Diego for the right to get to the World Series. The Yankees have got to get by Kansas City. Then they would have to play, if the Yankees made it past Kansas City, they would play the winner of Cleveland, Detroit. But, man, I'm telling you, if the Yankees do not make it as far as the Mets, number one, forget the Mets. If the Yankees get eliminated this round and they don't make the ALCS, buddy, New York fan is going to be mad because you said it a minute ago. What was that word you said? Payroll.
Yeah.
Payroll. Number one, payroll. Number two, the Yankees won like 95 games. They were good all year.
Especially the first half of the summer.
They were good all year with the payroll. Soto comes over. Aaron Judge played his ass off, is going to win probably the AL MVP.
Yeah.
Right? He's struggling in the playoffs. If the Yankees, with that payroll, with the players they went and got, Soto, who blended in perfect, with Aaron Judge having a all-star year, if the Yankees get eliminated really before the World Series, they ain't going to be happy in Yankee land.
No, definitely not. I mean, how exciting would an all New York World Series be, though? I mean, obviously, if you're Major League Baseball, they would have to they wouldn't admit it, but they would secretly be rooting for the Dodgers and Yankees.
Absolutely.
But I mean, if you got the all New York, like the varsity Yankees versus the JV Mets, I think that'd be. I mean, obviously, the majority of American sports fans enjoy rooting for the underdog, so the majority of people would be rooting for the Mets in that scenario. I think. Among all the potential matchups that could happen in the World Series at this point, I think that would be the one that I would be the most intrigued in, and I personally would tune into the most.
Yeah. See, you put your thinking cap on today. I'm proud of you, Zach.
I try every once in a while.
You did. Number one, you mentioned they still got some work to do, but it could be a Subway Series.
Yeah.
We could have the Mets one more series, and they're in. The Yankees would have to win 2 series, and they're in. Now, I will say this. That will not be a good TV series. The TV boys do not want Yankees-Mets. Remember, we had that 10, 12 years ago, that Mike Piazza group. The Yankees and the Mets got together in the World Series. I can't remember. Was it 10, 12 years ago? And it was Zach, it was a TV ratings disaster because basically –
That was 2000s. That was 24 years ago.
But it hadn't happened very often.
No.
When it happened – I remember it vividly. It was a TV ratings disaster. You had 2 teams in the same region.
Yeah.
Now, everybody in that Northeast region, they were riveted, but the rest of the country didn't care.
Yeah.
It was a TV disaster. What you said a moment ago, though, if the TV boys, if they could handpick, they would go Dodgers, Yankees in a heartbeat.
Yeah, you can't beat that. You can't beat it.
You got East Coast, West Coast. You've got the tradition. I mean, these two have hooked up in East Coast, West Coast series, World Series many times. That's what you would have, payroll versus payroll. You would have superstars. I mean, you would have Ohtani and Judge. That right there.
Yeah, that's the premium, head-to-head matchup.
That right there.
Yeah.
That right there. But yeah, Major League Baseball does not. Yankees, and we may have some New York fans watching and listening, and they may be mad as hell. But I'm just telling you, quantitatively, the numbers say you don't want a Subway Series. It's too regionalized. The St. Louis fan, the Minnesota fan, the West Coast fan would say, it's football season. Hell with the Yankees Mets, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And that was proven out. I don't know if you remember, the series was Piazza in his heyday with the Mets and the Yankees. They met in a Subway Series, and it was a TV ratings disaster.
Yeah, in the year 2000, right.
I mean, that would be like the Marlins and the Rays getting together. It's just too regionalized, right? It's just too. But L.A., New York, ooh.
Yeah, and I mean, they have met several times in the World Series, but they haven't they haven't played in the World Series against each other since 1981.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, so it's been several roster changes, manager changes.
But when you think about it, I don't think there's a real correlation in the NFL, but there's a correlation in the NBA. Let me tell you something. Historically, when the Celtics play the Lakers, the NBA loves it.
Oh yeah, 100. It's the same concept.
It's the same thing. It's West Coast, East Coast. It's them versus them. And the theory is they catch everybody in the middle.
Yeah,
they catch everybody. Somebody in Minnesota probably goes, I'm gonna go with the Lakers because they used to be here. Somebody in Tennessee goes, well, I've got relatives in the Northeast. Let's go to the Yankees.
Yeah, and those are the two teams. I mean, nowadays at least, those are the teams that get all the media coverage. So they're the two teams that everyone is the most familiar. Even like a casual fan is at least relatively familiar with. Everyone knows who Shohei Ohtani is if you've been paying attention to sports at all.
And
Judge.
Can you imagine if the Yankees and the Dodgers make it, but if the Dodgers make it, the international eyeballs that will watch at least 4 games if it's a sweep. Can you the Dodgers, Ohtani, his home country, and they have a lot of eyeballs in that home country. Oh
yeah. I mean, enough to where they change the entire advertisement background every time the guy comes into bat.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's warranted for sure. Yeah.
If the Dodgers make it out, and they represent the National League in the World Series, I would just about guarantee you that the Dodgers, dollar for dollar, would sell more advertising of their own. Major League Baseball will sell advertising.
Yeah.
But the Dodgers obviously would have advertising, some local stuff. The Dodgers would have, I think, off-the-chart numbers.
Like international. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, never reached territory before.
And don't you know, Major League Baseball, they would cut their right arm off to get the Yankees-Dodgers.
Dodgers. I mean, it kind of feels like they are on a collision course. I mean, the Dodgers did blow out the Padres last night.
It's been a weird series.
8-0. Yeah, it really has been.
And the Padres won a game earlier in the series, 10-2.
Yeah.
So you got a 10-2 and 8-0. Conversely, the Yankees are battling the Royals. I mean, there's been some one-run games. Nobody told the Royals, you're not supposed to be getting in the way like this, right?
Yeah. They're kind of the opposite of the Yankees in terms of the payroll and the brand. I mean, they did win the World Series a few years back, but they're before the season, no one expected them to be where they are necessarily.
Oh man, been a fun season, real fun season, and we'll see where it goes. I'll tell you one thing. If you think about what it takes to win the World Series, my God, you've got to go through like four. You got to win 4 series, don't you?
Unless does some of them get to skip the wild card, or does everyone have to participate?
Well,
in that?
I guess you're right. The division. The 2. There are. Yeah, the two leading divisions on each side, national, they took a bye.
Right,
but
right.
if you're not one of those two, to win the World Series, you got to win that first series, best of 3. The second series, where we're at now, is best of 5, right?
Yeah.
The third and fourth series, the fourth would be the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
You got to win like 4 series in a row.
Yeah, I've honestly always found it kind of crazy that baseball does that. They do the 3 and the 5 game series, whereas the NBA does 4 rounds of 7. Because I mean, they already play 162 games. They can't just make all the series 7.
I know, and I will say this:
it feels really abrupt.
Major League Baseball has toyed with that. Obviously, they've expanded recently. They've toyed with it. And I'll tell you the one thing I do remember from the NBA, what they've toyed with. They've always been okay with the 7-game series, but how to break it down. It used to be 3-2, 1-1. It used to be 2-2, 1-1-1.
Yeah, they've done different things.
They've always tried to finagle what's the best way to do 7 games.
Yeah, it feels like they've figured out the best way to do it is to put 2 days in between each game and put as many commercials in between quarters as possible.
Yeah, you think?
It seems like that's how they do. I think the NBA playoffs last 7 months.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I had my I got it right here, I think. Speaking of the NBA, if you're one of the teams that hangs around, either wins it all or goes deep, you have no offseason.
Oh, no, yeah, and then you could potentially have an Olympic year like they did this year.
Olympic year this year. Yeah. Because the NBA playoffs, I noted every year, they start mid-April.
Yeah.
And the NBA playoffs end mid-June.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So I remember getting this the other day, and we talked about it yesterday at Twin Peaks. NBA season opener, October 22nd.
Yeah, it's coming. I've seen the ads for it. It's coming. Hockey's already here.
Are you kidding? Yeah, and hockey, Twin Peaks celebrates that as well. It's somewhere. I've lost it somewhere. But, yeah, hockey's right around the corner. NHL season opener, October 4th.
Yeah.
So they've already started.
Yeah, they've played a few. I think most teams have played their first game by now. Yeah.
But the NBA playoffs, if you are a good team and every year you win a couple of rounds in the playoffs, I mean, you don't have a lot of time to go to Europe or take a cruise.
No, there's not a whole lot of that, yeah.
They're playing, man.
Yeah, and most of them are, a lot of teams make the playoffs in the NBA compared to other leagues. I think 16 out of 28 make it, maybe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty high format.
As we come up on our first break, I want to throw this out, and this is random, but have you heard, and I got this corroborated when I was at the Jacksonville Sports Hall of Fame the other day. I want to say hi to my buddy Freddie Weeby checking in, saying hi to Terry and Zach. Have you heard Jacksonville is toying around with, and there's some big movers and shakers that are kind of snooping around for an WNBA franchise, Zach? Have you heard that?
I mean, that would be I bet I would get a chance to see some Lady Gamecocks playing that if they did that. I would actually be excited for them.
The WNBA is looking to expand now.
I think we could support a WNBA team in the city.
I don't know.
You don't think so?
I don't know. And, we
do a good job with the shrimp. The shrimp are usually packed.
Well, we pick at the WNBA a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're the only ones. We wonder a little bit. Obviously, the NBA subsidizes the WNBA.
Yeah.
They spend a lot of money. And my theory is, and I don't know anybody deep in the NBA offices, my theory is, and pardon me, I got a little bit of a cold. I know my voice is a little.
Yeah, it's that season.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got a little congestion working. But my theory is that the NBA really pay the bills. The WNBA doesn't really make a profit. They don't make money. They've been carried by my theory is the NBA must think, and keep in mind the 2 seasons are opposite. They don't overlap.
Yeah, they stagger.
They stagger. Good point. Good word. During the calendar year. My theory is that the NBA must think it's good for us to keep the game of basketball front and center.
Yeah, that definitely feels like it is part of their strategy. And I mean, I feel like it's there every day.
Right.
That someone's doing some basketball thing for sure.
Because, and I looked this up about a month ago because I remember on the air, I was like, gosh darn. It seems like the WNBA is always in season. And I looked it up. And, it told me, it said No, the NBA and the WNBA, you would think they would overlap. No, they do not. That's what makes you feel like they're always playing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with all that said, I don't know, and I don't know the financials. I just know from you and me and guys like us looking from afar, I don't think they make any money. I think they lose money. And here's the issue. I think there's two issues I've got with the WNBA for them to make it. Number one, the WNBA, at some point, you have to survive by women watching your sport. You can't depend on men being the eyeballs to drive, right? You see where I'm going?
Yeah.
At some point, women have to watch your sport is I think, the big thing. And I don't think anybody in America today, let's say this was a normal Thursday, right? No hurricane or anything. I just don't feel like we're anywhere near where today at 1:07 around the water cooler, when you took your post-lunch check back in corporate America, I just don't think 6 women were meeting at the water cooler going, hey, did you see last night's WNBA game? That was something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, your point is definitely true. That definitely is happening less and less. I do think that they are trying to take a step in the other direction by making Caitlin Clark a big star.
Yeah.
And so I just looked up 2 different things. So I looked up, did the WNBA turn a profit this year? Shockingly, no, they did not. They're actually expected to lose about $50 million this year.
How many?
50 million.
Could you say that again?
They're expecting. That's what this quick Google search says.
Could you say the 2 numbers and then put them together?
Yeah, well,
5 and a 0 million.
Yeah, 50 million.
50.
Yeah, as in 10 times 5 million. Yeah, but I also because of Caitlin Clark, I also posed the question: did the Indiana Fever turn a profit this year? And I don't see turn a profit. I do see they had seen a significant increase in revenue and attendance. It says they saw a 256% increase in attendance, more than 200,000 fans attending home games.
Does it say did those tickets get purchased or were they giveaways?
It says,
I'm being facetious here.
Yeah, right. It says that the Fever, which is the Indiana team, they did lead the WNBA in ticket sales, but that the secondary market ticket prices they doubled, so that was probably more.
You hit a moment ago, 5 minutes ago, I said I have 2 issues that the WNBA has to cross, and I don't see them crossing it. Women have to watch the WNBA. Men, you can't depend on men carrying. Okay?
Yeah.
And the second thing I was going to bring up, and you led me right into it, Zach. How often, and I don't think you can create this year after year after year, how often are you going to have a Caitlin Clark type story?
Yeah, I mean,
that's it.
Not often.
By next year, that'll phase out a little bit, right? I don't think you can call Hollywood 101 and say, hey, this is WNBA. We need another big freaking story for this year, right?
Yeah, it's hard.
If you're at some point, you have to survive. The NFL survives because they're the NFL.
Yeah, when Tom Brady
survives,
retires, their ratings maintain.
Michael Jordan retired, the NBA survived because they're the NBA. If you're dependent on a massive mega story, Caitlin Clark was a massive mega story with a bunch of different tributaries that you could hook onto. Good luck finding a Caitlin Clark story next year, 2 years from now, 3 years. You might. But I don't. It's at some point you've got to stand on your own 2 feet and say, "We're the WNBA. Here's our season. Here's our TV games. Who's watching? Who's buying tickets?" And I see that. I don't know if I ever see that happening. But the word is there's some really movers and shakers, and I root for them. Right? We've got an arena. We've got an arena downtown that has dark nights. We could use.
I personally think that would be really cool. Literally, so I could go see former Lady Gamecocks and play in Jacksonville. I'm not joking about that. I really think I personally probably would go to a few games.
Now, 4 years from now, if the Lady Gamecocks aren't going to the national championship in college basketball,
I think Asia Wilson's going to be in the league for a while. She'll be the reigning WNBA MVP.
You get my point, though. When she's retired, I do. Or South Carolina, Dawn Staley shuts it down, and they're not playing in the Final Four national championship. The Lady Gamecocks.
God, going to take the Lady Gamecocks away from me. That's all I have.
Would you really care? Would you really care then?
You know what? At this point, I have literally grown. Like I embrace it. I actually literally do. I thought Caitlin Clark had an undefeated season until she ran into them in the finals. That excited me. I like that. I actually literally do enjoy watching Lady Gamecocks and Dawn Staley dominate. Unironically.
You better be careful if you are hitching your wagon, the WNBA, to a Caitlin Clark.
I don't know if they would sell out. I don't know if they would sell out games here necessarily.
A Caitlin Clark level story every year to carry your franchise,
right?
Or to carry your brand, to carry your sport. There's your two issues.
Yeah,
women. You can't expect. Well, men better carry our WNBA. No. If women don't watch women's sports, are you going to depend on men?
Yeah, I think the large part of their audience is just degenerate gamblers that don't have any other sports to bet on at the time. I think that's a large part of their audience.
Are you speaking to yourself?
I don't know what that means.
Okay, let's go to the break. I think we got Brent Beaird on. We'll talk some college football. A lot to do here. We're in studio. Normally Thursday, of course, we're on the patio at Sliders. They have shut down today. They just want to make sure everybody was safe. Internally, externally, tomorrow, Sliders, and, of course, all weekend long. They are rock and rolling open at 11 a.m. tomorrow, Sliders. But we're in studio right now. We hope to have you join us. Feel free to drop us a chat. We'll try to read those as we go. Terry Norvelle here. Brent Beaird coming up next, I do believe. And we hope to hear from Patrick Young with our picks. We're going to try and give you folks guaranteed picks so you can make money. It's a Thursday edition. The Young Norvelle Show right here on Action Sports Jacks.
At Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, we know pain and injuries can stop you from doing what you love. This is why our board-certified orthopedic specialists offer the latest in both non-surgical and surgical treatment options and create a treatment plan tailored to your unique lifestyle and goals. So, whether it is a sports injury or that nagging pain that's keeping you from doing what you love, our team has the right treatment for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
The Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network is streaming. I'm Stuart Weber, and I'm here to teach you a nice three-step process on how you can watch all your favorite programming from the Brent and Austin Show every weekday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or the Cup Date with me. It's fantastic. We talk NASCAR. It's a great time. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. All right, first step, easy. Download the Action News Jacks app. You probably already have it downloaded on your phone, so you might already have that one taken care of. Step 2, see that stack of pancakes up there? You click that stack of pancakes, and it's going to bring down step number 3, which is a full screen of all the different streams that you can click on, including the Action Sports Jax 24/7 stream. You click that, the video's rocking and rolling on your mobile device. You're watching all the shows you want to, and you're having a good time. You can also do it on your smart TV with the Action News Jax Now app. I do it on my Samsung TV at home. It's a great way to watch it on a nice, large screen for all the content. That's the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Hope you can find it.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater or something a bit more intricate. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 143-2579.
As you can tell, not at Sliders because obviously they're shut down. They're kind of revamping everything with the weather that came through. Sliders, don't worry, up and running 100% tomorrow. Go check them out tomorrow, all weekend. Always something good at Sliders, including the food, the best seafood, the freshest seafood in the world you will find at Sliders Oyster Bar. They get their seafood from Safe Harbor Seafood, which is right there. I mean, right. It's almost like the fish that can jump out of the ocean and land right on your plate at Sliders. It's that close to the ocean, and that's where you want your seafood coming to you from. Terry Norvelle here. I think we got Brent Beaird on to talk some college football and other stuff. Brent is a well-rounded. Brent, what about the frickin' New York Mets? They barely sneak into the playoffs, and they're a series away from the World Series, putting a lot of pressure on the Yankees.
I have no love for the Mets because of our association with the Atlanta Braves.
Sure.
So that's unfortunate. The Yankees, it may just be with them, my stars. Could you imagine a New York Subway Series again and what that would be?
We've had it before, and it was a ratings disaster because it
really was.
It's so regionalized. But, boy, I think the Mets right now, there's always pressure on the Yankees. They're the New York Yankees. The Yankees had such a good year, right? They were front runners. They won 1 million games. They had arguably the best player in the game, Aaron Judge. Let me tell you something. With the Mets moving on to the NLCS, if the Yankees don't at least make the World Series, that city's going to be on fire. Can you imagine the Met fans?
Oh, yeah. Hey, and by the way, for Florida Gators, Mr. Pete, who has a propensity to hit home runs, has had an amazing year. So, listen, it's a great time of year. With all that you got going on,
the overlapping is great.
Listen, I'll be brief about this. Let me say something about what you were just talking about with the WNBA. Listen, they have got, and why nothing was done about this, and maybe it was, and it was behind the scenes.
Okay,
but you can't assault Caitlin Clark on the court.
Yeah.
The way they have done and not deal with that in some way.
Yeah.
I mean, they can just say, well, it's just basketball. No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. I agree.
They tried to intimidate her. I don't know if Terry, I'm serious. If you and I were walking down the street and somebody did that to us, we'd be calling the police to come have them arrested.
And it subsided a little bit as the season went on, but early on, you're right. And I didn't understand it because what's the phrase? The hand that feeds you, or what have you. I mean, Caitlin Clark. Can you imagine the WNBA this past season, which just wrapped up? I think they finally played their championship series.
Yeah.
Can you imagine WNBA? What their numbers would have been without Caitlin Clark in that league?
It would probably barely move the needle at all. And I'm not going to belabor the point.
Okay.
But that really turned me off, and I'm sure it did a lot of other people. To where you can be playing and out of nowhere just body slam somebody to the floor. Terry, where's your commissioner? Where is your
good point?
Are her teammates and her coaches taking up for her? I mean, the only draw you've got in that entire league.
Yeah.
And you want to put her in the hospital? I mean, how ridiculous is that?
And it was almost like when what did she do? She played her college season. The WNBA was already going on. She jumped right into the league, I think. And it was almost like they treated her like the NBA, deep into the NBA playoffs, we all understand it gets physical. If you come down the lane in the NBA playoffs in the semifinals or the finals, well, you got to pay the price to put that ball in the basket.
Yeah.
They did that to Caitlin from game one.
Yeah, sure they did. And Terry, it wasn't under the basket either. No, I mean, they were 30 and 40 feet out.
Yeah.
And they were knocking her down to the floor. So anyway, we'll move on here. But I just wanted to say that, and I bet there are a lot of people who feel that way about how ridiculous that was.
Let's talk some college football with Brent Beaird, our resident college football expert. And Brent, we're going to try and take it to the top of the hour if that works for you, even a little more.
Go past that, yes.
Let's start with Alabama. I mean, still the big talk of the week. The people are calling it the biggest upset in the history of college football. Vanderbilt. We know about the 0-60, blah 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 blah. Where's Alabama? Alabama hosts South Carolina Saturday. It's an early noon game. Where, in your opinion, where is Alabama up here? Alabama's better than South Carolina.
Right.
Where is Alabama? South Carolina can play a little bit of nasty defense. Where do you see the game? Where is Alabama and Kellen DeBoer?
Now I can't see Lenore Sellers and Robbie Ashford, as you and I have talked about over the last few months, being real successful there. That they've really struggled offensively, but you're right, they've got a really good defense. But Alabama's got the better roster. Of course, they have the better roster against Vanderbilt.
Sure.
But I think what's going to be important about this is all about their defense. Their defense has got to get better. I mean, they played now again. They basically played a wishbone team, is what they did. And they didn't play well against it because they didn't pay attention to their assignment. So this year, now what's important for them is you got South Carolina this week, and you've got a game next week with Alabama and Tennessee.
Oh my!
That I'm not going to say that will put one of them out of the playoffs.
It might,
because I still think you get in right now at 10-2. But that is humongous.
Really is.
When you think about it. And Tennessee obviously has got a big game with Florida, and we'll get into that in a minute. But I agree with you. I mean, going back home, I mean, they've got to be more focused. I think they've had a good week of practice. Sometimes that means something, sometimes it doesn't. But they've got to be able to run the ball. They've got Jameer Miller, and they've got Haynes. And Justice Haynes, and you've got to be able to run the ball better than what they do. So it is a big game for them, frankly.
And you wonder, obviously, you want to win a game. That's the ultimate goal, is to win a football game. But if you're Kellen DeBoer and you're Alabama, they really need a 24-point, a 30-point win, right? To kind of say, okay, it was a hiccup.
Oh, yeah.
It was a hiccup. What's the temperature in Tuscaloosa? What's the temperature in the state of Alabama, the talk shows and the columnists? What's the temperature with regard to DeBoer 5 games in, he's lost to Vanderbilt, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I think they realize that it's early and it's going to take some time. I think what now this gets silly, but you'll get this. I mean, on his Colin show last night, they were questioning him. They had 2 questions about how he's dressing.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
And see, I don't know if I know you saw it, but he had a cap on, and he just had an Alabama T-shirt. Yeah. Just basically like you'd wear to practice.
Yeah.
So they didn't particularly like that. Now, look, Nick Saban wasn't exactly GQ material either, with the way that he dressed a lot of times.
Oh.
But at the same time, and listen, let me give you a part of this that no one's talked about yet. Do you know who the quarterback coach is of South Carolina? You probably do, but our listeners don't. It's Mike Shula.
Mike Shula. A sighting.
The former Alabama coach is the quarterback coach at South Carolina.
Oh my.
Terry, since he left Alabama, he has done 1 interview. He turned down interviews for this week.
Right.
But Shula really doesn't want to talk to anybody. He did an interview a few years ago at the Senior Bowl.
Okay.
And that is basically it. And I can tell you right now, this is revisionist history, but if Mike Shula, listen, Mal Moore was the AD then. He goes to Mike Shula and says, Mike, we like you. We think you could be our coach for the future. Well, but we need you to get another offensive coordinator. Well, he refused to do that.
Oh,
and because of that, Mal Moore didn't have any choice, and he went and fired him. Of course, they hired Nick Saban. The rest was history. So they will show a picture of either him on the sidelines or in the press box, and they'll bring some of that up. But I mean, look, you remember this. I mean, even Shula in Alabama had a 10-win season.
Yeah.
They were 10-2 around in 2005.
Yeah.
It didn't go well in 2006. So I just thought that was interesting that no one really has paid any attention to that. That will be a little bit of a side note for that game.
And and I believe everything you say. If Mike Shula at Alabama back then, if he had a 10-2 season, we all knew he wasn't the guy. But he still had a 10-2 season.
Yeah.
Oh, Kalen. Hey, let's switch it to Florida, Tennessee. Gators have won 18 of the last 20. Unbelievable.
That's right.
18 of the last 20. The game is in Knoxville. Yeah. Tennessee, I knew they were going to a snake pit. I mean, Arkansas was going to give them hell. I took Arkansas in our picks because I got 14 points. I got 2 touchdowns. I won it because Arkansas won straight out. Tennessee could only muster 14 points on offense. They're better than that on offense. Is it a quarterback situation? He's just got to mature, Nico. And how do you run out of bounds without just throwing the ball in the end zone on the final play?
I was gonna bring that up, Terry. If this kid's good as they say he is, what in the world is he? Listen, didn't that remind you of Anthony Richardson? Throwing it
5 rows deep.
Yeah, against Vanderbilt.
Throw it 5 rows into the stands in the end zone. Don't you, if you're Nico, you've got to have the presence, but don't you throw that thing like a punt and make it come down and say, hey, we may catch it in the end zone, we may not. You can't run out of bounds there.
No, I don't. Now the reality is, what people forget is, Arkansas has beaten Tennessee like 4 times in a row the last time they played.
I did not know that.
In the state of Arkansas.
I didn't know that.
But look, Travis Williams, who is their D coordinator, Terry, they need to give him a new contract immediately. What they've done defensively is unbelievable. Even with, and we don't know if Green's going to play or not coming up. That's a little bit up in the air. But look, here's the amazing thing right now. Think about this a minute. Arkansas could be undefeated. Arkansas could have beat Oklahoma State. Arkansas should have beat A&M. Terry, after beating Tennessee, how close is Pittman right now to a new contract?
Oh my goodness! Right now, if the season ended right now, you'd almost have to give him Coach of the Year. And I know they're not undefeated, but I mean, what we thought and where they're at, Arkansas, and they're fun. They're fun to they're fun to watch. Boy, you wonder though if Florida can hang around.
Yes.
And I think for Florida, their defense is miserable. I don't think they're going to get better between now and getting on the plane going to Knoxville. Right. I think Florida's rest of the season, the Gators' rest of the season, the best way they can play defense is convert on third down on offense. Right. I think Florida has to convert on third down on offense and score on 6 and 7 and 8-minute plays. I don't think they're very good on defense, but if Florida offensively can just convert. Now, if they don't convert many third downs, they're going to run out of the gym wherever they play.
Yeah.
I think. Do you think the Gators can hang around and make it a second half game?
I do. Now, Tennessee plays a lot better at home.
They sure do.
But the reality, and I like the Dylan Sampson, I like the Pierce kid on their defensive line. Now, if we need to go to break, we'll continue this on the next segment. But I want you to help me. People have forgotten, and they're scratching their head when I say this. This used to be the game in the SEC every year. This was the third week of September.
Yep.
They had their CBS had their U.S. Open Tennis Championship.
Yep.
And then they started the SEC season with Fulmer and with the old ball coach. And now help me get people to understand this. They were both probably in the top 5, right?
Yes. It was a massive game.
And people today, do they understand anything about the history of this game and how big it was?
I don't think so. It had a knockoff name as the Southern Super Bowl, they called it. And people may say, well, wait a minute. It was the third Saturday in September, first SEC game. But if you won it, you were off and running because Georgia was literally no factor back then.
No.
Florida, Tennessee kicked Georgia around. You were in divisions. You might have played Auburn on this side, but you're probably gonna knock heads with Alabama on the other side. The Florida Tennessee game in the 90s was all of any other rivalry you could pull up. It was unbelievable. And the press, and there were several games that the media buildup was all off season.
Yes.
I mean, all off season. People were saying, oh, my God, Peyton Manning's going to get his first one against Florida. He never did. Peyton Manning came back for a fourth year because he wanted to go beat Florida in Gainesville. They didn't. And it had that the rivalry had all the things you needed. It had a bunch of controversy. It had a bunch of this fan base was pissed off because of that call and vice versa. It was a monster game. Brent, let's go through a couple more games before we take a quick break, and then I want to talk about some of the disappointments this year. Texas, Oklahoma. I just don't think Oklahoma can piece enough offense together. I think on a bad day in Dallas, Texas can squeeze out 20 points. I just don't know if Oklahoma can score enough to beat Texas.
Can Oklahoma score 10 points?
I don't know.
I'm not convinced they can. Frankly, I mean, when you've got a new quarterback and you've had your and I'll never forget that Auburn game, having every starting wide receiver out with an injury. I don't ever remember that happening in all the years you and I have covered college football. That was one of the most amazing things. But so, with that said, I mean, look, Terry, wouldn't Oklahoma need like 2 pick sixes to stay in this game?
You would think so.
I'm with you. I don't see how it could, Frank, now, the funny thing about this game, there's some strange things that happen from time to time. Last year was exciting. 2 years ago, it was an absolute blowout.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that's a game you and I need to go to one year.
Agreed.
Just to enjoy. We probably have to take some Pepto-Bismol with us just to enjoy the fair and all that's going on. Terry, I hope they don't move that thing from Dallas and move it to Jerry's World or something of that nature. Although I'm sure Jerry with the Cowboys would like to do that, but I mean, Terry, at this point, I mean, if Texas does what we think they do, now Texas has got Georgia, that's around the corner, in Austin. But I mean, I'm with you. Now Oklahoma's defense is good enough, but look, I can see this thing being what 28-7, and that would be a rout with that Oklahoma defense, wouldn't it?
It really would. It really would. A couple other big games before we take a break. Come back with a second segment with Brent Beaird. Penn State is at USC. USC is reeling. I think the luster is now just about off of Lincoln Riley. I just think he's a guy. I think Lincoln Riley is a guy that might have had a little Peter Principle under his career. This is one Penn State needs to go win, though. James Franklin needs to win this game. We won't spend a lot of time on it, but your thoughts, Penn State going to the West Coast, USC.
Yeah, let me say a little bit about USC. Riley, the USC coach, and Terry, in his last 20 games, they're 11-9. 11 and Terry, there are people, help me if you've heard this. There are people who want him to come to Florida. If Napier was fired, there's no way in the world that I'd hire that I would hire Riley at this point. And B, did you see this week? He's at a press conference. Guy asks a question. It's a pretty normal question. His reply to that is, well, I don't think that's a very professional question. Look, Riley, here's the reality. They pay you $10 million a year to answer questions if they're quote unquote professional or not. Just quit being a baby and answer the question.
Yeah, and you know my stance. I've seen it too many times. When coaches at that level or higher get belligerent, it ain't good. And it sounds like that was a belligerent answer. Real quick, we'll zip through a couple more. Boy, a late night game that's intriguing because you know what? A lot of us rip on Deion for some stuff. If Deion Sanders and Colorado at home, if they beat Kansas State, who's ranked 18th, that's a big game. It's a 10-15 game for us on the East Coast. But, I was impressed with Colorado when they came into Orlando and just absolutely whooped up on UCF.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, UCF at that point was averaging 375 yards a game, and they kept them to 177. Now, the Gators did a good job with them, too.
Yeah.
But now, the other, part of your problem here is people who think Gus Malzahn's an elite coach. Gus Malzahn averages 4 to 5 losses a year. I don't mean every now and then. I mean a year.
Yeah.
But to your point, that was still impressive. Now I'm with you. This Kansas State team, since Bill Snyder left, they've kind of got it together.
Yeah.
And they're playing extremely well. I mean, their long-haired quarterback is a sight to behold.
Avery Johnson. Yeah, I love him. Love that guy.
Yeah. Reminds you of the former Alabama basketball coach. But I'm with you. That is a nice game. Yeah, but we may have to have a nap before that one comes on.
I won't make it, but a final big game. Then we will take a break and come back. Brent, I want to talk about some disappointments halfway through the season of college football, basically. Ohio State, Oregon. Both of these teams have flown under the radar. We've known their top 5, top 10. They just haven't had a marquee game. I mean, Ohio State,
right.
Iowa was a national game, but nobody tuned in just to watch Iowa and their miserable offense. No. Ohio State thumped them. Oregon's kind of just gone through the paces. First big national game for these two. I like Ohio State and all their offense on the road. Big potential win here for Dan Lanning in Oregon, though. That's the big one this weekend. Your quick thoughts on that game?
He would change college football if Oregon won that game. Now, Oregon started really slow, and I think they're going to be better. I think Dillon is a tremendous quarterback.
Yeah.
With Oregon, to say, I mean, he's a Heisman candidate. But I'm with you. I mean, if you're look, Terry, at this point, Ohio State's beyond excuse, aren't they?
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but they've done this themselves. They went out. I'm not going to say they've got the best team money can buy, but the point about it is they have gathered a group of players that you can make the argument, particularly at running back, particularly with Junkins moving up there. I mean, that they, with the talent they've got, they're right now, Terry, is there any excuse that they can't beat anybody?
Yeah, you would think, boy, that is a hell of a talented team.
It really is.
Their defense, Ohio State's defensive side of the ball, most of those guys are homegrown.
Yes.
They got JT and they got Sawyer and all those guys, just good recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
Offensively, they go out and plug holes, and, man, those two backs are something. I wonder you wonder if these are two good teams. I don't care what the score is Saturday night or when it's over. They're two good teams, Oregon, Ohio State. You wonder, though, if one of them can put a number on the other one and just send a shockwave. You talked about if Oregon wins, that would send a shockwave. But, yeah, Ohio State, this is one Ohio State on the road. It's a night game, I think, nationally. This is one Ohio State or Oregon could really, really ramp it up with a big win.
And let me say this before we go to a break. Now, look, I'm not advocating for Napier to be fired, but we understand the reality of that.
Yeah.
Terry, if that happened, if you're Florida, if Napier's gone, don't you go to Lanning and make him tell you no?
You do, don't you? Don't you? And
yes.
People that don't know his history. Wait a minute, that guy's on the West Coast, way up there. No. He was a Kirby sergeant.
Yes.
He has game planned, and he's won a lot of big time SEC and national football games. Oh my goodness.
And Alabama won. Alabama was very interested. In Lanning. I think they got the guy they needed, but in DeBoer, they were, but don't think for a minute. I think that was much more than a smoke screen.
Yeah.
I think they coveted him.
And I don't know this at all. I don't have a source, but it just does not seem like Dan Lanning is going to spend a long career in the northeast.
Right.
I think Dan Lanning is down here. When he has a proposal with one of the big boys in the South, a Florida, an LSU, a Tennessee, an Alabama, and Auburn, one of the big boys, a Georgia, if who knows what with Kirby. Don't you see Dan Lanning coaching below the Mason-Dixon line soon?
Oh, yeah. I mean, as you said, that's where his roots are. And listen, let's you and I get rid of this rumor here that Kirby's going to coach Georgia at the end of the year and then go coach the Jets.
Yeah, you're hearing that a little bit.
Have you seen that one?
Yes, I have.
Look, some dodo head put that on Twitter, and I've had I bet you have too. I've had 2 or 3 people text me that and said, "Oh my, look what I see on Twitter here." And my response to them is, when you see it one time on Twitter and you don't see it any other time, that means it's not true. If you've got, I don't know what, a dozen reputable media people saying that's possible, well, then you pay attention to it. But I can tell you right now, that's not who Kirby Smart is, and that's not where he's going.
Let me. I don't do this very often. I think I'm going to try and correct you a little bit. I don't think it's one dodo head. I think it's 3 dodo heads, and one of them is wearing a Gator hat.
Yeah.
One of them's wearing a Tennessee hat,
right,
and one of them's wearing a Georgia Tech hat.
Yes.
Because and they all have a travel agent on speed dial saying, "We'll help Kirby move out of Athens if we."
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you had that same reaction to I did.
Yeah.
And look, maybe he might one day, but Terry, Kirby Smart is an excellent college football coach. He's an elite college football coach. He's not an NFL coach.
It just doesn't feel like that's his game.
No, it really doesn't.
It just, and that's no knock at him, but man, he feels like a college football coach.
He does.
To me.
He really does.
And the NFL's a different animal. The NFL, ask Nick Saban and Steve Spurrier. The NFL is a different Lou Holtz. It's a different animal. It really is. And you can't just walk into a Barry Switzer situation where the Cowboys were ready-made to win Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Right? And he won some. Yeah, definitely. Brent, hang tight if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Top of the hour.
Oh, yeah.
We'll take a break, come back. I want to hit kind of college football from the other side.
Sure.
Who's scuffled a little bit. And also, I'm intrigued now by the group of five. I wish we didn't have an automatic bid, but they're getting a bid.
Yeah, and sure they are.
It looks like one or two teams have kind of separated themselves.
Right.
And it's a ranking thinking.
It is.
It's a ranking thing. Who are those teams? We'll talk about that with Brent Beaird, the great Brent Beaird, on the other side. It is a Thursday edition of the Young Norvelle Show. It is presented, of course, on Thursdays by Sliders Oyster Bar.
For those dealing with pain from a sports injury, arthritis, or spine condition, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists offers innovative new non-surgical options. Our regenerative medicine treatments, including platelet-rich plasma and other regenerative treatments, use your body's own restorative cells to aid in treating injuries. These procedures are performed in our offices and typically require minimal downtime. If you want to get back to doing what you love, our regenerative treatment options may be right for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
Since 1936, Procter Ace has been proudly helping Jacks with all your home and garden projects. Whether you need tools, paint, plumbing supplies, or expert advice, we've got what you need to get the job done right. Looking to brighten your yard? Visit our garden center for plants, tools, and everything to make your outdoor space flourish. You're not just shopping here, you're part of our community. So come in today and let us help you tackle your next project with a smile. After all,
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. When I say it means something to me, gentlemen, it means something to me.
High school football is back and it's bigger than ever. Welcome to the Friday Night Zone Blitz.
It is bigger than a game.
Watch the biggest games each week live as the action unfolds with instant reaction and analysis from our Hall of Famer, Kevin Sullivan. It starts with live look-ins at the top matchups, including our Jaguars Prep Whataburger Game of the Week, and that is just the beginning of 4 straight hours of coverage. From 8 to 10:30, the Friday Night Zone Blitz is streaming on our Action News Jax app and online. At 10:30, the Friday Night Blitz you know and love. A half hour of highlights from around the area. 11 o'clock, we shine the spotlight on the bands that pump up the crowd. 11:15, it's time to blitz through the highlights online and on air. Then 11:35, back to the stream to break down the night's results with a reaction from local coaches. 4 straight hours of high school football on the Friday Night Zone Blitz. Only on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
Baker Sports is local sports. Uniforms from Pop Warner and Little League to travel ball, high school, and college. They make you look good. They help you play good. Baker Sports has been helping families make memories that will last a lifetime with their Baker's Buckets. We've got a lot of these filled with baseballs and softballs in the garage. I've been throwing batting practice to Ty and Kaylee for years, and also sit on the Baker's Bucket, catching Kaylee while she practices her pitching. Yeah! Baker Sports is homegrown, and a lot of employees that used to play on local ball fields now work for Baker Sports, now helping you look good, play good, and make memories of your own. Visit Bakersport.com to see what Baker Sports can do for you. Custom apparel, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, embroidery, screen printing, and more. Baker Sports is local sports from Jacksonville to anywhere in the Southeast. Bakersport.com.
I'll tell you one thing, I'm getting some work out of Brent Beaird today. Let me tell you, a guy laying around watching it rain and blow wind and saying, I can't work because of hurricane.
Yeah.
Boy, we got lucky, though, didn't we, up here? I feel bad for our friends down lower. But when that hurricane, as we welcome you back, it's a Thursday edition. We're in studio, normally at Sliders, but they've shut down today to get ready. They'll be full go tomorrow at Sliders Oyster Bar. Brent, I think that thing kind of, when it hit land, it kind of turned a little bit toward the south, and I think that pulled it down under our umbrella, if you will. Is that what happened? Thank God.
Yeah. According to Tim Deegan in the group, it did. But again, Terry, we were really fortunate. I mean, we had, the amazing thing is that thing. There were like 40 tornadoes that came from it, which is unbelievable.
And that's not normal, right? We don't get that always, I don't think.
No, and I hope that's it for the year. We'll hear about it if it's not. But the great thing for you and me is, brother, we've got some 60-degree nights coming up.
Yeah.
And Terry, next Wednesday, the high is 71 and the low is 54.
It feels nice.
Talk dirty to me, okay?
Hey, especially on a college football Saturday. Let me tell you something. Old Terry, on a college football Saturday, if that weather holds that you just said, I'll open every window in the house. I'll open the back screen door so my beautiful Penny dog can run in and out. Yep. And, dude, hey, I'm not going to lie. I'll light me some candles, and I'll watch me. The candles just make me calm a little bit. I'll put them around my TV and all. Call me crazy. But, Brent, I'll watch college football with no AC or no heat, saving me money all day and all night. And that's all I care about. That's what I like to do.
Listen, we have earned it. I've said here for years, the first 50-degree morning in Jacksonville should, in the state of Florida, should be a state holiday.
Oh, I'm with you, Brent Beaird. Talking some college football here in the second hour on a Thursday. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll be live, of course, at Bricks Jacks Beach. Can't wait to get back out there and hang out with everybody tomorrow at Bricks Jacks Beach. Brent, we had this topic a day or two ago. We were busy. The storm, we didn't quite get to it. College football disappointments. We're roughly halfway through the season, right? Some teams have 6 games, some teams have 5, blah, blah, blah. We're close. Disappointments. I'll just bump a few. Is FSU number one? I mean, they were preseason one.
Yes.
And I think I stole a note from your notes. The Noles, I think, are disappointment number one. Have they gone 9 straight games with less than 300 total offensive yards? I think I saw that in your notes.
Yeah.
How does that happen in Tallahassee?
I don't know. It really is amazing. The thing they've done, well, you can start with DJ Uiagalelei, so you start with.
Yeah.
But he is supposed to be injured, won't be back. Probably Brock Glenn did okay.
He wasn't terrible.
And that's a guy they need to play anyway. But look, their transfers. I mean, Malik Benson from Alabama, Roy Williams from Alabama. These guys have been average at best.
Yeah.
Although, Terry, all those transfers last year worked. This year they did not work. But see, my problem with FSU is a heart problem. These guys just don't want to play.
Well said.
And at some point, find you guys who do. Now, Terry, they're off this week. And can you see them next Friday night? They play on Friday night. Can you see them losing to Duke?
Absolutely. On the road at Duke. Duke's 5-1. Duke is playing one of their best seasons in years. I will say this. FSU is off this week. Miami is also off this week. Mm-hmm. I think both of those programs really need an off week for totally different reasons. I think FSU just needs an off week. It's been a train wreck. They just need to get away. Yes. I think it's a great off week for Miami. Miami, they just got back from a 3,000-mile road trip. They've spit the hook out in a couple games. I think it's a great off week for Miami to catch their breath, take a few days off, reconvene, and say, if I'm Mario Cristobal, here's the rest of the schedule, boys.
That's right.
We have kicked ass the first half. Let's catch our breath. I think it's a great week off week for both of them, especially FSU. They need to get away from the football field, I think, and catch their breath.
Yeah, well, and they've got Duke, Miami, North Carolina, Notre Dame.
A lot of wins in there.
Oh yeah, and then Florida at the end of the year, and that game's at FSU. Terry, how bad will that be if they play Florida and Florida plays one of their better games of the year and beats them by 2 or 3 touchdowns?
Yeah.
No, look, Mike Norvelle is not in trouble.
I agree.
By any stretch of imagination, especially after last year. But I'm with you. I don't know if there's anybody close, frankly, to to where they're going at this point. Now, Kansas surprises me as 1-4.
Yeah.
So I think they might be a little bit of a disappointment, but yeah, unfortunately, top to bottom, FSU would be that with anybody.
If you mention, if what you just mentioned, if Florida goes into Tallahassee at the end of the year and puts a knot on FSU's head, and FSU could have quit by then. I've seen some quit in them already. They could have really quit by then. If Florida puts a knot on their head, I would imagine that earlier in the year, Miami would have put a knot on their head. That ain't going to be good because, Florida just went through that. Florida just lost to FSU at home to end last season in Gainesville, and they lost to Miami at home to open the season. That's never good going back-to-back rival state losses, and FSU could have we touched on USC real quick. I think the bloom is totally off of Lincoln Riley. I think he's just a coach. He had been mentioned as one of the 4 or 5 guys. I think USC, they've got 2 losses. I think they've got another 2 or 3 losses in them.
Yes.
Am I too quick ahead of this? I think Lincoln Riley is just a football coach. He's got to do something to get back into the upper echelon.
Well, I tell you what he needs to do that. Yeah, he needs to eventually come to the realization that you've got to play defense in order to win some of these games, and that's been a real problem for them. Now they just lost to Minnesota,
right?
And obviously they've got Penn State coming up,
right?
But look, Maryland's played better.
That won't be an easy game.
Now, let me ask you this. How embarrassing is it going to be if Rutgers goes to Southern Cal and beats them?
And that's plausible.
And I tell you right now, they won't like to hear this, but Rutgers is tougher on the line of scrimmage than Southern Cal is.
Greg Schiano's done a nice job his second go around. You look at USC's schedule. They've got 2 losses. They have Penn State at home. They should lose that game.
They should.
At Maryland is no easy trip. Rutgers goes to L.A. Greg Schiano doesn't care about traveling to L.A.
No,
they're going to play their ass off.
Sure they will.
At Washington.
Yeah.
Nebraska at UCLA, which is a home city, and then Notre Dame. And Notre Dame may need that game to get into the playoff.
Can you see? So Terry, okay, they've already lost 2. Penn State's going to be 3. Right. I think Rutgers is going to be 4. And out of these remaining games, at least Notre Dame would be 5. Look, they may be 6 and 6.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm totally taking the bloom off of Lincoln Riley.
If that, Terry, look, I'm not saying they're going to fire him, but if they're 6 and 6, I mean, the seat's got to be warm, doesn't it?
You would think a little bit. Disappointing year for North Carolina. Everybody loves Mac Brown. It's time to end that. The second go around of Mac Brown, it's time to end. And Brent, you and I, we've talked college football for years. I've known you for a better part of 30 years now. I think you agree with me. There are 2 programs on each coast that I don't understand why either program is not better at college football. And I feel like I could go coach one of them and you could go coach one of them and make them better at college football. I think North Carolina should be a good job. I think North Carolina can win big in football. I know they're a basketball school. And I also think UCLA on the other coast should win. I correlate those 2 programs, but the Mac Brown thing, it's time for Mac to step aside. The problem is I just don't think North Carolina, unless they hit a home run hire, an up-and-comer, I just don't think they can command going and getting the Urban Meyer that's out there, the Steve Spurrier that might be out there. Am I right about that?
Well, but let me say this, though, and I hear what you're saying, but let me give another slant to this.
Okay.
And I still hear this, and I'm curious what you think about it. The number 1 team that the SEC wants when they expand again is North Carolina.
Totally agree. I agree with that. Yep. And there's a lot of things to like.
They're really, there's no question that look, basketball, obviously, at some point they can be competitive in football.
Yeah.
But the other thing with North Carolina is and people don't care about this, but I'm telling you, the people who make decisions care.
They do.
That is a great academic school. There's no getting around that. And these SEC presidents and chancellors, when they're sitting, and Sankey does too, when they're sitting around talking about who they want, you better believe that's who they want is North Carolina.
Totally agree with you. And you can kind of go state by state by state. North Carolina has this in their favor. Every state has the university.
Yes.
North Carolina is the university.
Right.
Florida in the state of Florida is the university. Michigan in the state of Michigan is the university.
Yes.
Ohio State in the state of Ohio is the. North Carolina has a lot of panache, and you're right.
Yes.
And I think you agree. They should play better football.
No question.
They should
absolutely
play
no question.
Better football. Somebody needs to get in there. If they get to the SEC and they get that big paycheck, you got to fix your stadium. You can't, much like Missouri, you can't have a berm in the end zone, right? You got to go put a big stadium. But North Carolina should play better big-time football. Mm-hmm. And you're right. If they go into a conference not named the ACC anytime soon, it needs to be the SEC.
Yes.
Not the Big Ten. The Big Ten would help them, but North Carolina, the marriage between North Carolina and the SEC would be perfect, I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I agree totally with that. But that's what we hear, that's a team that the SEC covets the next time they expand.
Why is Auburn so bad? Is this a one-off? How did Hugh Freeze, who's been around the college game forever, how did he not bring in a better quarterback? Is this a one-off with Auburn? They're hard to watch. Auburn is hard to watch right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Listen, here's the amazing thing about this. Tell me if you'd ever believe this. If Auburn has a losing season, that's going to be 4 in a row.
Are you serious? Ooh.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Now Harsin did them no favors.
No.
But listen, this is Terry. This is on Hugh. Okay. This is on Hugh and the quarterback situation. And look, I've got friends with the Ole Miss broadcast folks that they're not surprised that this is going in that direction. Now, Hugh, I give him credit, went to Liberty and did a good job. He kind of reinvented himself along that lines. But I can tell you right now, they've obviously lost to Georgia, so they're 2-4 now.
Right.
Missouri, Kentucky, they're going to lose one of those games at least. That's 5.
Both on the road. I'm looking at their schedule. Both on the road.
Yes. And would it shock you if Vandy beat them?
Not at all. Not at all. Vanderbilt comes into Auburn. Louisiana Monroe, you got to believe they're going to win there. A&M at Alabama. I see 2 more guaranteed wins, maybe. No more than that. This thing's going to get away from Auburn, and I didn't see it getting this bad. They're hard to watch. They're not a good football team.
No, they're really not. I agree. Their defense is pretty good.
Yeah.
And they've got some pretty good individual players. Those freshmen like Cam Coleman's going to be good. But I'm with you. It's going to be another long season on the Plains.
I mean, when you look at the scoreboard with Auburn this year, and the opposing team has 17 points, almost game over.
It really is.
It's almost team that's been a disappointment to me. We're getting out of our region a little bit, but this coach and this program, they get here, but they get Oklahoma State. They're 3-3. They've got Ollie Gordon, and I've watched a lot of Oklahoma State football this year. They've been on a lot when I've been sitting in front of the TV.
Sure.
I'm stunned, and I guess Mike Gundy just is a guy. We always thought Mike Gundy might go to he never went to the next level, and he never took that program, Oklahoma State, to the next level. And I watched Oklahoma State this year. Brent Beaird, I have been stunned that the Cowboys have not, every game from the opening kickoff, they have not built their offense around Ollie Gordon. I would feed him the ball early.
Absolutely.
I would feed him the ball first possession, second possession, third possession, and then figure it out. I've seen games where he's been healthy, he's been on the field, and he's a Heisman caliber back. They have wasted at Oklahoma State, I think, this year.
Well, and look, they've got now BYU is pretty good.
They are.
Arizona State, Texas Tech, and Colorado. So you're talking about probably what, 2 or 3 more losses.
Yep.
Let me tell you about Gundy. And a lot of people probably don't know this, but it's easily Googled. Gundy in Tennessee have been in talks about him being the head coach at Tennessee.
Agree.
Probably 3 different times.
How about that?
And that's how close he's been to having the job at Tennessee. And my question to you is, you brought this up a minute ago, how would he have done there? Would they have been a consistent 8-4 with Gundy?
He may have been what I think may turn out right now. He may have been Josh Heupel.
Yeah.
Win 9 here and there, but Gundy just could never get him over the top there. And I just can't believe how they have not used Ollie Gordon.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It just blows my mind. Brent, we'll get you out of here on this. We talked about FSU and Miami. I think it's a good off week for both of those guys. FSU plays an awkward game, though, next Friday at Duke. It's going to be an awkward game. Duke's pretty good. I think Miami needs to catch their breath. They're halfway home. Bad news for FSU. Linebacker DJ Lundy out for the year, one of their leaders on defense. He did not play against Clemson. He's out for the year. And Brent, really quick, this could just be rumor and out there. Did you see a little blurb today about some type of capital equity group that has talked about raising $70 trillion and asking basically for the rights to run college football
Yeah.
And they would bring off the big 70 schools, which I kind of like that concept.
Yeah.
But is it they want all the rights and say, hey, we're going to run it for you. We want to basically we want to buy college football and run it the right way with Big 70. I know this is just breaking, but is there anything to this? Did you see that?
I don't think. I think if this one that I read, and I think it is. I think this is like a couple of ex ESPN and Disney guys. But Terry, here's my thing: would Sankey and Petiti, SEC and Big Ten, would they go for that? I don't think there's any way in the world they'd go for it. They're making their pitch to these ADs, and I'm sure the money would sound good, but Terry, these guys, these commissioners, the only thing they like more than money would be control. And there's no way in the world those two guys are giving up that much control, are they?
And it sounds like that's kind of this concept. They're throwing around like, hey, we want to buy college football and run it and manage it, and you SEC and you Big Ten, we're going to hand you $9 billion a year, and I mean that by $9 billion. The NFL TV numbers every year. They come in around $13 billion. So college football, $9 billion. TV would pay most of it, but that's kind of what they're saying. We want to run it right. We're going to nip it off at 70, which I love, by the way.
Yeah,
they need to nip off college football. Right, we don't need 130 and try to manage that. But I think it's just think of all. Can you imagine trying to put that contract together? How it would take years to make I's and T's.
Yeah, it really would. And by the way, now something more feasible is, and we'll get into this either tomorrow or next week, is that they're doing away with the letter of intent. Yeah. And look, you're rather astute with this. You know what's coming with this. If you're doing away with the letter of intent, well, what's going to replace it? Well, what's going to replace it is contract.
A contract, yes.
And
a labor contract.
And you and I have been talking about this how many years now? Yeah. That this is going to happen. Now, and again, they've limited both the windows for the portal, and which they thought they were going to do away with the spring portal for football, but they're going to keep it and only give it like 10 days. So that is going on now, and I think this is going to lead to them doing something with an early signing period. I think eventually we're going to see an early signing period in the summer, which frankly is where it needs to be anyway. Yeah. And then they're going to have one in the summer, and they're going to have another one either in February or when they've got it now in December, and just live with that.
I love that new proposal though. I love it. I love it all. I think we're slowly, in terms of the players will sign contracts, labor contracts, because once they do that, the players then will form a union.
Yep.
And college football will have their union.
Yeah.
And then they will be able to make rules and regulations that they can't do right now.
That's right. They can't. Yes.
Once those two entities have their own entity, if you will, college football can say, we're a private club. If you want to play in our club, you have to do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Right now, they can't do that, but the fan cannot figure out that they can't do that legally.
Yeah.
The fan just can't figure that out. They need to cap this. The NCAA can't cap anything right now.
Right. No, the NCAA is still trying to reinvent themselves. And the big thing with this too is how is this going to work out for Title IX? We never forget about that. But
Title IX. Title IX.
I know. But that, those are things coming down the pike, and people need to be ready for that. And look, this portal thing is going into effect this year. I mean, it's going to effect immediately, frankly. So, but there's but yes, there's still a lot brewing out there. But yeah, I saw the 70-team, $9 billion deal. But I again, they might, but I just don't think there's any way these college commissioners give up the control they've got to somebody else.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. If I was SEC, Sankey, or Big Ten, if I was those two, if I was even entertaining it, whoever this group is, 70 teams, $9 billion, blah blah blah, I would open it up and say we're taking bids, man. I mean, because wouldn't you want the free market to take over? Because my God, what would you bid to get basically a major college football league / playoff?
Ooh. Well, I still wonder though, to your ideal, if the day's coming where the NFL just takes all this over.
Why not? They're the perfect one.
Now, if they did, they would do it with a view to make all of it work for them. And I mean, as if it's not now. The way it's going. Anyway,
I will never get off. Hey, Brent, I'll never get off that theory that if you could handpick anyone to run college football, why would you not go to the NFL? You've done it all. You've done. You deal with owners, which are the universities. You deal with player unions, which you deal with salary cap. You deal with you've done it all. Reinvent the wheel. Hire the NFL, who has a vested interest in college football. The NFL has a very, very vested interest in college football. It is their audition stage, right?
Yes.
College football is their. If you're trying to go get a movie part, you have to go audition. If you're a beautiful model trying to sell clothes, you have to walk that runway.
Yeah.
The runway, the audition stage for the NFL is college football. The NFL should run college football. I'm telling you.
Yeah. And Terry, as we go to break, I'll leave you with this, and we'll talk about either more next week.
Sure. Sorry to keep you so long, buddy.
The game, I've enjoyed it. That's never a problem. Look, the game that people aren't really talking about that maybe have as many stakes as any game played this weekend beyond Oregon and Ohio State is LSU and Ole Miss.
How about that? Elimination game. Elimination game.
I'm not going to go that far, but I get what you're saying.
Hey, not that Kelly doesn't. Lane Kiffin needs that game.
Yeah, he does. He really
Lane
does.
needs that.
I agree. Now Kelly had a loss to Southern Cal, which looks worse now all the time.
Yes.
The way they're playing, but LSU only has a loss in the league. That would give Ole Miss 2 losses if they lose a game. Ole Miss is struggling running the ball for one reason or another. But the bottom line, have you noticed that, like I have, is whatever reason nobody's talking about that game.
No,
and I think it's because it's overshadowed by this Ohio State and Oregon game. And listen, are people going to be watching Florida, Tennessee? Because this can be on the same time as Oregon, Ohio State.
I thought of the same thing. They go head to head. Nobody's going to watch it nationally. The game in Knoxville. Ole Miss also still has Georgia.
That's right.
So Ole Miss that's a tough win for Ole Miss, especially if they've already got 2 or 3 losses. I mean, Ole Miss needs this game to survive. They really do. And what a great old SEC game. Brent, thank you, buddy. Kept you way too long. We need to charge people for this kind of segment, man. That was good stuff. I appreciate everything you do, buddy. Thank you, buddy.
And listen, we'll talk either tomorrow or certainly multiple times next week, okay?
You got it, my friend. That's Brent Beaird, the best in the business when it comes to college sports, college football. Nobody knows it better and explains it better than Brent Beaird. Let's take a break. Come back. We'll start wrapping things up. Let's take a look at the NFL, some of the games over the weekend that we should pay attention to, and also 2 or 3 teams. Who's going to get that group of 5 bid? The group of 5 gets in the 12-team playoff. There's 1 or 2 teams right now that have kind of separated themselves. Who are they? We'll talk about them on the other side. The Young and Norvelle Show continues on a Thursday. It is presented by Sliders Oyster Bar.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
For over 20 years, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has been providing the highest level of orthopedic and spine care to patients throughout Northeast Florida. Now, we're making that same great care even more convenient with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Direct, a walk-in clinic where you can be seen for pain or injuries with no appointment needed. Staffed by orthopedic physicians and specialists, we offer everything from diagnosis and treatment to imaging and bracing, all with no appointment needed. For more information, hours, and locations, visit our website.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jacks to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jacks in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jacks 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms, whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV. You can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jacks 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
Summertime means sizzling sales at Nimnick Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Nimnick never charges above MSRP. You can save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%.
You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnick Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer.
You can schedule a test drive at NimnickBuickGMC.com. And while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnick is there for you, even on Sundays. Visit the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
All right, the big question right now as we welcome you back, Thursday edition brought to you by Sliders Oyster Bar. We are not on the patio. You know, I'm always on a Thursday on the patio at Sliders Oyster Bar. They're shut down today, just making sure everything's fine with the weather that came through. They're ready to rock tomorrow. Full go, Sliders open, so you can enjoy the great atmosphere, the great food, the great service at Sliders Oyster Bar featuring Safe Harbor Seafood. Now, with that said, producer extraordinaire Zach Rothrock, do you have your picks? I know Patrick's not with us today. Do you have your 3-on-3 picks that you, me, and Patrick do?
I do. I think I might be better off throwing darts at a piece of paper.
Whoa, you
but
got
I
your
do.
picks. Where's my pick sheet here? Oh, no, I can't find my pick sheet. Let me try and get our. Oh, here we go. All right, I'll tell you what. We'll go ahead and get our picks out, you and I, and then we'll catch up with Patrick probably tomorrow. I've got my 3. Zach, you want to lead off? We'll go back and forth. What we do, Zach, myself, Patrick Young.
Mm-hmm.
We have done a week to week through college football, and it can be NFL or college. You could pick. But what we're doing, we started at 100. Not money, just 100. And Patrick and I, we're not big gamblers. We just kind of wanted to see how hard this is. So we started at 100, and here's the rules of our little game. And we're about what? This is week 7. We're 6 weeks into it. We're going into week 7. We started at 100, and we all 3 of us picked 3 games with the spread. And we assign 3 point totals, 5, 10, 15. So if you hit one for 15, that's plus. You miss one for 5, right? So that's what we do, and that's where we're at right now. We go into week 7. Zach, I'm at 160.
We really don't have to slowly go.
I'm at 160. You shut your filthy mouth. I am 60 to the good, for God's sakes.
That's a really good ROI. It really 1.6%. That's crazy. That's like an insane rate. That's professional gambling status. There's no way you can maintain.
Smart.
If you can maintain that over the course of a couple of years, you would literally be the greatest gambler of all time.
Well, you know what I mean.
You literally would be.
When I say your money and my smarts, and we can go do this. So I'm excuse me. I'm plus 60 at 160. Patrick, I had a plus 30 week, by the way. Not my first one. That's a perfect week, by the way.
Yeah, you're going to throw that elbow out.
Yeah. Patrick had a plus 10 week. He went from 20. He was down to 20, by the way. He's now at 30. And, Zach, you had a I'll just say it quiet, Zach. Minus 30.
Yeah. Well, I thought that the goal was to pick him wrong, so I really did.
So you went from 35. You're down to 5. You're almost in negative number. We need you, Zach.
Not yet. Like I said yesterday, I perform when my back is against the wall.
All right, here we go, Zach. Your first game. Give me the team. Who's at who and point spread. What do you got? Pick number 1.
Yeah, because why not at this point? I'm picking the Jacksonville Jaguars from Duval playing in London. They're catching 1.5 against the Chicago Bears, so plus 1.5.
So the Jags get 1.5.
Yeah,
plus,
I think they handled the travel better.
And you're saying you're taking the Jags and that 1.5.
Yeah, plus it's fun to root for the home team or whatever.
All right, so I got you down, Zach. You say Jags or your pick.
That's the 5.
And even if they lose by 1 point, you'll win because you have a half a point.
Seems pretty. Yeah, well, it's 1.5 points.
Yeah, I'm saying if they lose by 1, you would win, right?
Correct.
Still, right?
Right. Yep.
All right, I got you down for the Jags. Over in London this Saturday. This Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday morning.
Which is 9:30 kick, I do believe. Yeah. I got that down. Okay, with that said, I'll give you my first pick here. Easy money, free money, easy free money. I'm going to go to Dallas, Texas. You've heard of that place. They play a little football in Dallas.
I thought about doing this game potentially.
I'm not going to Jerry World. I'm going to the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah.
The good old Cotton Bowl.
I thought about it.
And I don't care what you guys call it, and I don't care what you politically correct people call it. It's the Red River Shootout, if you ask me, baby.
Speaking of which, I've got a good video about that.
And?
This was the... wrong video. My bad.
That was your South Carolina guy getting tackled by your
No,
South
check this
Carolina
out.
guy.
Speaking of a shootout, did you see the shootout in the Carolina Gamecock game from this past Saturday? Did you see this?
What the hell's going on here?
It's a taunting penalty.
Oh, about the gun. Yeah.
So when this penalty happened, I literally said, I want to see it. I want to see, was this worth it? And then they showed the replay, and I said, good God.
Did they show it a close-up?
I was not expecting that. This video does show a close-up.
All right, watch this.
Yeah, this is freshman defensive end Dylan Stewart, who has...
From South Carolina. Made a play.
He has had a phenomenal season. Late in the game, as you can see, the Gamecocks are down 24-3. This is a third down. They were about to get...
third quarter,
yeah,
they were
about to get Ole Miss off the field. And Dylan Stewart sacks quarterback Jackson Dart. They're going to show the slow-mo.
Here we go.
Right here.
There you go.
Gets a great sack. Great, but he unloads a whole clip on him.
He clipped him.
What is that?
You can't clip him.
That was one of the most
sakes.
insane things I've ever seen in a football game.
You can't unload a clip on the guy. Hey, that's your squad. Hey, you're from the low
you know
country.
What? I mean,
you're from the low country.
When I played football, I was an enforcer. I was like a Draymond Green type person. I wasn't that talented, but I was the fight starter. You know what I mean? But never in my wildest dreams would I have imagined mimicking unloading an AK-47 or whatever that was on the guy when he's down. That's nuts.
How about that?
Anyway, sorry to derail.
Thank God they took him out of the game. Thank God.
So to answer, no, I'm not a part of the PC culture. I'm all for calling it the Red River Shootout.
You don't think that's the right culture to foster at South Carolina?
You know what?
Unloading a clip on a guy down on the ground?
like that better than just all shucks, Shane Beamer University, good enough university. I like that better. But that's either here or there. Let's get back to the Texas, Oklahoma. Yeah?
I'm going Red River Shootout.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Texas Longhorns, the number 1 team in the nation. They are giving up 14.5. I think they'll win by I think they'll win by 3 touchdowns or more. Give me Texas. My second game, I'm going to go. I'll go first here. Let's go way out to the West Coast.
Okay.
I think USC is done. I think they're cooked. I think they win a couple more games the rest of the year. I will take Penn State. James Franklin and the boys need a big win. He never wins a big game. This will be a watched game. I don't know how big. Penn State is giving up 4 points. I'll take the Nittany Lions -4, game number 2. What say you with your second game, Zach Rothrock?
Yes, in my second game, I'm going to take the Washington Commanders over the Baltimore Ravens. The Commanders are catching 7 points. I expect the Ravens to win this game at the end, but the Ravens seem to always play in these crazy games that are decided by 3 points or less at the end, like on the very last play. And the Washington Commanders offense has been
What's going on? Where did they come from? Where did they come from?
Yeah, I guess he's better. Jaden Daniels is better at running the Cliff Kingsbury system than Kyler Murray was, or something like that. They've just been insanely efficient. It will be kind of interesting to see how the Ravens defense combats the Commanders offense, considering how similar. It'll be kind of like a mirror image of each other in many ways. But I think the Commanders will keep it close.
So you've got Washington and Baltimore. Who are you taking?
I'm taking the Commanders to cover with +7.
You're taking Washington, and they are +7.
Because why not at this point? Yeah.
They are +7. And do you know where the game is at?
That game is in Baltimore.
I'm going to underline that. And the Jags are obviously neutral. We're going to call
that it's in
one.
London.
All right, so I got you with the Jags plus 1.5 over the Bears. I have you with the Washington Commanders on the road getting a touchdown.
Yeah, full touchdown
over Baltimore. How about Baltimore turning it around after one of those 0-2 starts?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and even their 2 losses were close.
Yeah.
So they've been competitive. I mean, they're a team, honestly, for the past 5 or 6 years, they've been a team that I've been expecting to go to the Super Bowl, and they just can't get over that playoff hump. But, I mean, as far as winning a random regular season game, I expect them to be able to win pretty much any one.
All right, Zachary, give me your third and final game, and then I'll give you my third.
Yeah, and this one.
Hey, wait a minute. How many points did you put on the Jags?
The Jags was the 5. The Commanders was the 10.
Okay, so this will be your 15 points.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm doing this. I'm literally just.
If you say South Carolina, I'm going to puke in my mouth.
Well, no, but it is in that same wheelhouse. There's only been one South Carolina Gamecock quarterback that has been drafted since I've been born, and his name is Spencer Rattler. Yes, and he will be starting at
New Orleans.
Yeah, at New Orleans versus the Buccaneers. The Saints are 3.5-point home underdogs, so they're catching 3.5 plus 3.5 for the Saints.
Don't do it.
I think that this guy has a good chance to take the starting job. He does, man.
Don't do it. So you're taking New Orleans +3.
+3. Yeah.
The
Saints always play the Buccaneers tough.
At home. So I'm putting you New Orleans +3. There you have it, Zach. Why? And that's your 15 points. Zach, why are you doing this?
Because at this point I'm at 5. I got to swing for the fences. Let's go, man.
I got you. All right, let me give you my final game. I have, by the way, 10 on Texas, Oklahoma. I'm taking Texas. I have my 5-point swing on Penn State over USC -4. And my final game, I'm going to do a little geography here. If I can I do some geography?
We'll see.
Some travel, some air travel, some geography, some jet lag.
Okay.
I will take the undefeated, homestanding Pitt Panthers. They're giving away 3.5 points. They're at home. They are taking on California. I'll take Pitt to cover at home because I like this California team.
What time is that game?
It's I don't know. It's at I don't know.
Because that's like one of those noon games. That could be kind of crazy.
Yeah,
I would assume that's later in the afternoon.
And California has already come all the way over to Tallahassee.
Yeah.
They are coming back almost all the way. Pittsburgh's near the East Coast.
I just thought that's not sustainable.
Yeah, I like this Cal team. They play hard. I just think they're kind of wore out right now. They've had 2 heartbreaking losses. They should have beat Miami on a national game. That was last week. Now they got to load it up. I will take Pitt to go to 6-0. I got the Panthers winning by more than 3.5 points. There you have it, Zach Rothrock. What do you think? What do you think?
See, so I was
happy with your picks?
No, I think your picks are solid. So with the Red River rivalry, though, I strongly considered going with Oklahoma for that, just because it's Quinn Ewers' first game back. I feel like he might be a little rusty.
I don't think Oklahoma's score.
Yeah. That's the thing. I kind of see one of those muddy games that slows. But I mean, as the name suggests, those games barely turn into that. So I mean, I ultimately didn't go with it because I didn't feel that confident in it. So I see why you're going that way. But with Oklahoma's defense and with it being Quinn Ewers' first game back, I could see that being closer than 14.5 potentially.
Well, why didn't you pick it?
Like I said, I'm not that confident in it. But you asked what my opinion was.
You're a dirty buzzard from the low country in South Carolina with those dirty buzzards.
I don't think that has anything to do with it. I picked 3 games.
Dirty buzzards. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back, wrap things up. Been a fun one on Thursday. I want to thank our Thursday sponsor. You know them. You love them. Sliders Oyster Bar.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
For over 20 years, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has been providing the highest level of orthopedic and spine care to patients throughout Northeast Florida. Now, we're making that same great care even more convenient with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Direct, a walk-in clinic where you can be seen for pain or injuries with no appointment needed. Staffed by orthopedic physicians and specialists, we offer everything from diagnosis and treatment to imaging and bracing, all with no appointment needed. For more information, hours, and locations, visit our website.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jacks to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jacks in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jacks 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms. Whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV, you can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jacks 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
Summertime means sizzling sales at Nimnick Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Nimnick never charges above MSRP. You can save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%.
You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnick Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave. So feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer.
You can schedule a test drive at nimnickbuickgmc.com. And while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnick is there for you, even on Sundays. Visit the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
All right, that'll just about wrap things up. Man, fun show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you missed it or missed some of it, you can always check it out on all of our social media pages. And you should be following us. All you have to do is bang in the name, the Young and Norvelle Show, Young and Norvelle. It'll pull up on Facebook and X and YouTube and everywhere. The easiest way, I don't know how you're consuming us right now, the easiest way, make sure you also have the Action News Jax app. Download that app, and then at any time, particularly from 4 to 6, when we're on here Monday through Friday, the Young and Norvelle Show, when you go to the app, 4 to 6, you're going to see Action Sports Jax. Click that bad boy on. That'll send you right into our streaming sports channel. And between 4 and 6, you get us. Obviously, midday, you don't want to miss Brent and Austin. They do our midday show 10 to 1. We got a pretty good thing going, we think, and we hope you are enjoying it. And we hope that you help us grow the show. We don't really have a lot of time to get into the group of 5 teams. We'll try and do that tomorrow. Right now, I think there's 3 or 4 teams fighting it out. The group of 5 gets a bid. The highest ranked group of 5 team at the end of the season gets into the college football playoff. Boise State, number 17 in the nation, with a Heisman Trophy contender. I think they're the leader right now. Memphis, they're in the mix. Gosh darn, do you have to throw Army and Navy? They're both 5-0. What if one of those teams runs the table or goes 10-1? Ay. We'll talk about that and a lot more tomorrow. The show will originate from our Friday home, Bricks, Jax Beach. Come out, say hi, or make sure you watch it. That'll do it. Have a great rest of your Thursday, everybody. Thanks to Sliders Oyster Bar.
At Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, we know pain and injuries can stop you from doing what you love. This is why our board-certified orthopedic specialists offer the latest in both non-surgical and surgical treatment options and create a treatment plan tailored to your unique lifestyle and goals. So, whether it is a sports injury or that nagging pain that's keeping you from doing what you love, our team has the right treatment for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jax Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jax Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jax Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dynamic Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
The Action Sports Jax 24/7 network is streaming. I'm Stuart Weber, and I'm here to teach you a nice 3-step process on how you can watch all your favorite programming from the Brent and Austin Show every weekday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or the Cup Date with me. It's fantastic. We talk NASCAR. It's a great time. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. All right, first step, easy. Download the Action News Jax app. You probably already have it downloaded on your phone, so you might already have that one taken care of. Step 2, see that stack of pancakes up there? You click that stack of pancakes, and it's going to bring down step number 3, which is a full screen of all the different streams that you can click on, including the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 stream. You click that, the video's rocking and rolling on your mobile device. You're watching all the shows you want to, and you're having a good time. You can also do it on your smart TV with the Action News Jacks Now app. I do it on my Samsung TV at home. It's a great way to watch it on a nice, large screen for all the content. That's the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Hope you can find it.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater or something a bit more intricate. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license.